Hello everyone, today I'm here to do a book review or a series review for you. Today I'll be talking about Beartown and Us Against You, both by Fredrik Backman. Beartown was a book that came out a few years ago, and Us Against You just got released this year, at least in the US. Fredrik Backman is a Swedish author, so I'm sure that his books get published first there, and then I think it gets a little bit later a release date here in the US, understandably, but either way, I just binge read both of these books and I had to talk about it because they are amazing, they are deep, they are hard hitting, they are just a lot of feelings I have to talk about. But either way, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to tell you what Beartown is about. I'm going to try to keep this spoiler free for the most part. Beartown, in case you want to get into the book and series and see if you want to read it. Against You, I probably will talk about spoilers, but I will let you know before I do so you won't be wandering into spoiler territory. Without further ado, let's get into this review. Beartown is a book all about a town called Beartown, and in the town of Beartown, they love ice hockey. They are kind of a desolate town. They're like in the middle of the forest, and honestly the trees look like kind of demolished houses if they've been sitting there a while. Beartown does not have a lot going on for it. The factories often get shut down, people lose work, and it's just not a happening town. It's a very small town. The town is struggling. They've been struggling for a while. They're just kind of a town that no one really knows about, other than the fact that Beartown is known for ice hockey. They have an ice hockey team, and these people in this town love and covet ice hockey. They're very, very serious about the sport. They follow it religiously. They build their whole kind of town around it. Like, they're people that just dedicate their lives to ice hockey and being ice hockey fans. And within the world of Beartown and their ice hockey team, they have two teams. They have the junior team, which has a lot of high schoolers on it, and they also have the A team, which has older men on it. And this book really follows the team of the junior team. So you're following a myriad of characters. You're following a lot of the boys that are on the junior hockey team. You're following the coach of the hockey team. You're following the general manager of like the ice hockey arena and stuff like that. You're following the wife of the general manager. You're following the kids of the general manager. You're following some of the kids that just love ice hockey. You're following a lot of people in this town, and this book is pretty much about Beartown. Yes, it sounds like a very ice hockey heavy book, and you're gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be all about ice hockey. That is not true. At the heart of this book is the people that live within Beartown. And yes, they may love ice hockey, but they're much more than that. They are complex. They are just very driven with different things in their lives. Just want to let you know that there is a big trigger warning for rape. A rape happens in this book, and that's what really divides this town in half. Some people believe the guy, some people believe the girl, and things get really, really intense after that. So it's a heavy book, I keep saying it, but it is a beautifully heavy book, if that makes any sense. Yes, it does deal with a lot of topics that are hard-hitting, like rape and a lot of slut-shaming and a lot of just shaming in general, and homophobia. That has a lot of things in this book, but Fredrik Backman handles it so well, it's honestly kind of ridiculous. Like, what he writes is what you're feeling and what you want to say to people, and he just writes it down himself. So this book is heavy. I keep saying it's a heavy book. Like, you're gonna... after I binged these, I was like, holy crap, I need to read something light as mess, because this book, this series was so intense. But there are so many amazing things about this book without it being heavy. The characters and some of the teenagers, some of the adults are just so beautiful, and you feel for them so much, and you fall in love with these characters. It's honestly ridiculous how much you feel for them. Beartown, I gave Beartown a 4.5, close to 5. I really was surprised of how much I enjoyed it. If you've read any of Fredrik Backman's books before, he wrote A Man Called Ove, which is a very quirky book, and it's kind of a heavy book as well. Fredrik Backman, I think, is known for writing quirky things, but adding a little bit of a heaviness to him while keeping it lighthearted still. I think his Beartown series is definitely his most heaviest, but there's still his sense of quirkiness all throughout it. If you're interested in reading about a town and the complexities of a town and the people that are living it, and you know, when a rape happens, how different people feel about it, and what the town does and what people do to make it right or maybe not right, I would highly recommend this book. This book is gonna, I think, stay with you for a while. I finished this book about a week ago, and I'm still thinking about it quite frequently, so I would highly recommend it. It is a heavier one, as I keep saying, but I really, really enjoyed it and would definitely recommend it to everyone, because it is a town that you just want to visit and you want to meet these people in real life and be like, I love you. You were amazing to read about. Like, it's ridiculous. And there's some people in this book that you just want to, you want to beat up, literally. So, love this book. So moving on to Us Against You. Us Against You is the sequel to Beartown, and it got released this past month, and I read it. I binge read both of these, so I read Beartown, and immediately after I read Us Against You. Us Against You, I don't think I liked it as much as Beartown because it gets into a lot of politics, and I personally don't like reading about a lot of politics because it gets confusing, it gets conniving, and I'm just like, oh. I don't think I liked it as much as Beartown, but the intensity is still there, the complexities are still there, the people that you still love and adore are still there. Also, some people that you can't stand are still there. So I loved reading about the continuation of these characters, and I adored them for that. So this one, I would say, if you've read Beartown and you're like, oh, I don't want to read the next one because I feel like it's going to lessen my love for it, it won't. I think you definitely need to read the sequel. I don't think it's nearly as good as Beartown, but if I had to give these both ratings, like I said, I'd give this one a 4.5. I would give this one maybe a 4.25. Like, I didn't enjoy it as much as Beartown, but I still really freaking enjoyed it. So I do want to talk about some spoilers within this book. So if you have not read Us Against You, please do not watch any further because I don't want to spoil it for you. It's a beautifully told story, and bottom line is, before I go into spoilers, read this series. It's gonna stick with you. It's intense. It's funny at times. It's quirky. It's heartfelt. It's warm. It's dark. It's a lot of different things, but he handles all of these things so well. So yes, I am hyping this book up a lot, but I really enjoyed it, honestly. Like, I a lot enjoyed it. So going into Us Against You with spoilers, so if you haven't read, please do not watch any further. This follows, I think, the summer and then the winter after, the whole scandal of Kevin when he raped Maya, and we get to see the outcome of that. Beartown is still like shattered. Like, they have lost their hockey team, all of their players went ahead, and now they're trying to rebuild it, and we have a politician, and there are a lot of things that I don't think I loved in this book. Mainly Peter. Peter is the general manager, and he made a lot of really bad decisions. Like, there's a politician in this book, Theo, I think his name was, and you could tell that dude was really just messing with Peter, just using him to get what he wanted, and you just want to shake Peter a lot and be like, open your freaking eyes and see what you're doing, get rid of this, be with your family, be with your wife, be with your daughter, and he was so annoying. I really enjoyed reading about Amat and Benji and Bobo. Oh my gosh, that boy has, like, I liked him at Beartown, but then when I read Us Against You, Bobo became my favorite ever. Like, that boy has so much heart, and he's such a good character. It's insanity. Like, I want to wrap that boy up in a hug and, like, never let him go. Oh, it's so, all of them are so freaking precious. It's ridiculous. I also really enjoyed seeing Maya and how she was handling herself after the events of, last year, and how, I loved how Maya kept saying in this book that she's not a victim, she is a survivor, and I loved how she said that. She is such a strong-willed character, and I love her for that. I loved her and Anna's friendship and how it hit a snag, and they recovered from that. I thought overall this book was great. I love the way it ended. It kind of ended with, you got to see a glimpse into everyone's future, and I feel like it's a safe place to end it because I honestly don't know if my heart can take another book within the series because they are such heavy books, but so beautiful ones at that. But also, I can't pronounce his name, Vigor, I think his name was. At first you think that boy is gonna be crazy, but then when he falls in love and then he sacrifices himself for Anna, you're like, I almost cried at that part, and I don't cry a lot with books, and I was like, why? And then the pact, and then, there's so many elements to this book that are just amazing. The only thing I didn't love is bringing in the politician, which I knew was kind of important because that's how it happens in real life especially, but I felt like that part got kind of confusing and overwhelming at times with the decisions and him going back against Peter and just being a horrible person. So I don't know if I love that aspect, but everything else I just adored about this series, and I definitely think it's one of my favorite series of all time. I would highly recommend it. So yeah, I think that's all the spoilers I had to say about this book. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts and opinions on Beartown and Us Against You. Bottom line is, I think think the series is a must read. It is going to be one that you're going to have like a really light, fluffy book on the back burner after you finish them, because they're going to rip your heart out because they're just so intense. Just put myself on repeat, why don't you, Heather? But I just really loved and adored this series, and I'm so glad I finally read it. I've been meaning to read them for a while, especially Beartown, and I'm so happy I did. So I would highly recommend them. If you have read both of these books or one of the books, please let me know your thoughts and opinions. Who's your favorite character? Quick. Mine in the first book was definitely Amat and Benji. I loved both of them to pieces. In the second book, I was all about Bobo. Like, that boy just took my heart. And I also loved Maya in this book. I loved Maya overall and together. And I loved Kira in the second book in particular. I just love everybody. But Bobo really captured my heart in Us Against You. That is for sure. I mean, all those characters really do. But either way, let me know your favorite character down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.